Crown Jewel takes place this Saturday, so Roman Reigns was on hand to hype up his match against Logan Paul for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Nikki Cross made her shocking return last week with a brand new look and attitude, and she stepped into the ring with Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair tonight. Matt Riddle battled Otis in a trick-or-treat street fight, and Brock Lesnar addressed his upcoming match against Bobby Lashley. Let's look at what went down during this special Halloween edition of Monday Night Raw. For this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom, Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our legendary Raw chats. And, well, the final stop on the road to Crown Jewel that goes down this Saturday afternoon with a special start time of high noon, of course, and kickoff show at 11. We'll preview that on Friday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk. But tonight, it's about Monday Night Raw this evening. And it was the Halloween show, the go-home show, when we were live tonight from the American Airlines Center, Dallas, Texas, the home of the NBA's Dallas Mavericks and the NHL's Dallas Stars. And we started it off, with a match. The Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, versus Nikki Cross. And Bianca Belair wins the match, 9.5 minutes, the time of the fall. Solid match to start it off. Give this about 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort. And having Cross lose her first match back would usually be seen as a poor booking decision, but the way this was done made it easier to handle. The match was energetic and made both competitors look good. The look of confusion on Belair's face when Nikki started to yell was perfect, and Bianca's vertical suplex, an homage to the late great British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, almost always looks great, just as great as his. And I'm sure he was smiling down seeing that. So there's nothing much else to say here. This was a good 3.25 stars for the effort. Good way to start the action tonight. So not much more to say here. MF, Bianca Belair with a big win here. Big momentum for her as she goes into her last woman standing match with Bayley for the Raw Women's Championship at Crown Jewel Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a fight. We'll preview it on Friday night as part of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Look, at the end of the day, it was a 3-star match. It was solid. It was good. Everything about it was better than expected. So yeah, really nothing more to say. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean this to me was a 3-star match as well. I mean, I thought this was definitely a good way to start off this Halloween edition of Monday Night Raw. And yeah, I mean, you could say, I mean, it was wrong for Nikki Cross to lose in her first match, of course, as the Twisted Sister again, and but I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think she'll start to slowly be that threat to the Raw Women's title. So we'll see what happens here. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So let's move on, Florio.
Yeah, and we move on to what was scheduled to be a sit-down interview in separate locations. Bobby Lashley on one side, Brock Lesnar on the other side. But Brock Lesnar, being Brock Lesnar, basically told us, I'm not doing that. I prefer to do my talking in the ring. And that's exactly where he went. Brock Lesnar went out to the ring. He called out Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley answers, and gentlemen, we had a pull-apart brawl. And I'll tell you what, Michael Bullock and I, it conjured up memories of our all-time favorite pull-apart brawl from 7 years ago. Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, the night after Battleground. 2015 in Kansas City. We'll never forget that for as long as we live. The greatest pull-apart brawl of all time. It was looking good. But then Triple H actually got on camera, and Triple H, told the security guards, hey, you tell these two, if they touch each other again, the fight is off. And thankfully, the cooler heads prevailed, and the fight is still on. Don't worry. The fight is still on. Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Saturday at Crown Jewel. And I'll give it a small thought. Lesnar and Lashley having a pull-apart brawl is almost always going to produce good results. So it's not surprising to see WWE go to that well once again. So that was a hell of a lot of fun, and definitely raises our excitement level for that match, which we'll get into more on Friday night. But for right now, let's get into our next match. Very intriguing matchup here. United States Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins squaring off against Austin Theory. U.S. title not on the line. Winner of the match in 14 minutes and 40 seconds, Seth freaking Rollins. He wins the match with the curb stomp. MF, very interesting dynamic here with Rollins and Theory. Both are heels, but it's obvious the crowd was far more supportive of Seth freaking Rollins, and rightfully so. Rollins wins the match, 14 minutes, 40 seconds, with another picture-perfect curb stomp. What a match.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Picture perfect, great battle, great start. Really nothing more to say. This was easily another 3.5-star fight. The action was amazing. The way that everything was incorporated was really well done. So yeah, to me, the right man won, and really nothing more to add. So Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely a 3.5-star match. I mean, what can you say? I mean, this was a good match, but you kind of expect that when you got the likes of Seth freaking Rollins and Austin Theory. So yeah, the crowd was definitely more into Seth freaking Rollins, obviously because of his music. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So now what's next for Seth Rollins? So we'll have to wait and see. So there's really nothing more for me to say. So 3.5 stars. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star for this. The Visionary was the clear favorite, judging from the crowd's response, so he played into it quite a bit. Rollins was big-timing Theory a lot during the first half of the bout. His veteran experience allowed him to control the pace and his opponent until Mr. Money in the Bank took control right as the show went to commercial. And then Theory had the upper hand when we returned, but the champ was beginning to show signs of life. Second half of the match was far more competitive than the first, and the crowd was eating up every big spot and near fall. And after several close calls, Rollins able to secure the win with his trademark curb stomp. Solid match from top to bottom. And it's hard to tell if Rollins is still supposed to be a heel. He was high-fiving fans and got a positive reaction throughout the match. And Theory's rolling blockbuster looked awesome. So this was very well done. 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. One of the fights of the night for sure. Great match. And then the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, along with his special counsel, Paul Heyman, cut a promo, interrupted by The Miz. And Miz basically was sucking up to the Tribal Chief, and then Tribal Chief's like, I ain't having this. Superman punch, knocks him out, and yeah, not much to say about this except just a solid, another solid segment here. to be honest. It was a fun segment with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman continuing to play up the one lucky punch of Logan Paul theme. And it was also fun to see Miz's attempt to suck up to Roman blow up in his face. So that's really all there is to say on that. So we're just gonna bypass that. And then from there, Damian Priest of the Judgment Day squaring off against the OC's Carl Anderson, the Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson scores the win, 7 minutes and 25 seconds. Michael Bullock, nice win for the Machine Gun there in 7:25.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, a nice win for Carl Anderson. I mean, give the OC some momentum going into their big 6-man tag team match at Crown Jewel, but it was the Judgment Day who stood tall and they basically took out the OC. So this is definitely for me setting up for an OC victory at Crown Jewel after they stood tall over them. So we'll wait and see what happens here. So 2.5 stars is my rating. It's yours, Florio.
2.5, 2 3/4. These two worked well together, especially for two guys who have very little experience as opponents. Carl Anderson showed a lot of versatility throughout the match and was able to score the win with a backslide. This match was all right, but it didn't stand out much, to be honest with you. And Carl Anderson is one of those guys who can do a little bit of everything, and it makes his style hard to define, but it makes his matches fun. And a personal preference to close it out, let Rhea Ripley fight men. It's about damn time. So that's really all there is to say on this. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. MF, the never open weight champion, scoring a huge win here tonight with a nice little backslide move in 7:25.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 2 3/4 of a star is my rating for the match. I thought they did a really good job with the body of work. I thought the action was very well done. There's really nothing more to add. So yeah, Floyd, it's yours.
All right, and this is where the show, for a brief moment, fell off the cliff a little bit. It started all right enough. JBL, the Hall of Famer JBL, came out and at first was cutting a nice promo about his home state of Texas, but then he heeled it up and turned on him and got his usual heel heat for that. Baron Corbin, he brings out Baron Corbin. He cuts a promo. It gets interrupted by R-Truth. And it was, we're not even going to dignify that. Although the JBL and Corbin portion of it was very well done, especially the JBL portion. So, we're going to bypass that. And then usually when a match gets decent time, usually we address it. But in this case, this is one time where this is not worth dignifying, if I'm being honest with you. You would think when Triple H took over this company, you would think that they would cut down on the holiday silliness. Unfortunately, they did not. What's Halloween without a trick or treat fight here? And it was Matt Riddle squaring off against Otis, and they both came out in ridiculous outfits. And I'm not even going to dignify this. But I will say Matt Riddle wins the match, 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Thankfully, they kept this short. That's all there is to say on that. And I know this is something we do not want to get into. I mean, Bullock and I, we tuned this out during our watch. We didn't even care. The match was only going for about 30 seconds before the show went to a break. And this match, all of the usual comedy spots for a stipulation like this. They had a few fun moments, but as a whole, this was nothing that would be considered required viewing. I'm not even going to, like I said, I'm not even going to dignify this. So, with one exception, Otis countered an RKO into a slam. It was a fantastic spot. And then the RKO that Riddle ended up hitting looked awful because Otis dropped too early. But that's really all. So we're not even going to dignify that. Mustafa Ali. Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to dignify this. Mustafa Ali squaring off against The Miz. And Mustafa Ali wins the match in 10 minutes and 5 seconds. This was about 3.25 stars. I gotta give it a good rating here. I mean, Ali had some nice high spots, but the rest of the match was relatively tame. It wasn't bad in any way, but it could have used something more, a little more to make it stand out. And the way The Miz pulled Ali into the middle turnbuckle looked brutal. The way The Miz slammed his head into a different turnbuckle a few minutes later looked even more painful. Ali sold it like he hit a brick wall. And Ali sold the DDT like he was RVD. And the ending of the match, Dexter Lumis attacking The Miz once again. And Ali super kicked The Miz so hard, you could see the spit flying out of Miz's mouth. Man, he hit that thing. He hit that thing perfectly. And then even more perfectly, the 054, the 450, whatever you want to call it, but I still call it the 054. 1, 2, 3, Mustafa Ali with a huge win here tonight. So not much more to say here, MF. Mustafa Ali, big win for him. 10 minutes and 5 seconds over The Miz.
Yeah, 12 3.25 stars. Great matchup. Very good body of work. Very impressive by everybody involved in the match. I really had nothing more to say. So, yeah, Florio is yours. I mean, Michael Bullock is yours.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.25 stars on this. I mean, this was a good match here. I mean, it definitely could have been better, but yeah, obviously The Miz, gets distracted, of course, by Dexter Lumis here. So yeah, no surprise with this. So yeah, so now what's next for these two? So we'll have to wait and see. So Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, and then they did this another ridiculous segment here. This tell-all interview, Byron Saxton with Johnny Gargano, and yeah, that was that's something else that's nothing worth speaking of here tonight. But we're most assuredly going to be speaking about this, the main event of the evening. This match was made earlier in the night. Asuka and Alexa Bliss and Asuka, they came back tonight. After Bayley defeated Nikki Cross, Damage Control attacked Bianca, and it looked like it was going to be another 3-on-1 beatdown. But then Alexa and Asuka made their return after a few weeks, and then in a backstage segment, Alexa and Asuka issued the challenge to Dakota Kai and Io Sky for a women's tag team title match here tonight. Challenge accepted, match made official, and they made it the main event, which was the absolute right call. Women's tag team championships on the line. The champions, Dakota Kai and Io Sky of Damage Control with Bayley in their corner, squaring off against Asuka and Alexa Bliss with Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's Champion, in their corner. The winners of the match in 18.5 minutes, and new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Asuka and Alexa Bliss. They win the titles here tonight. Good old MF Michael Fletcher. It's only fitting you start off. New champions. What does that mean, Monsoon?
Yeah, history was made. We have new tag team champions. The most, whoever would have thought this was going to happen. Unbelievable outcome, unbelievable moment for Alexa Bliss and for Asuka. For Asuka, it's a full circle moment. She was partners with with Kairi Sane, not with Io Shirai, with Kairi Sane with the Kabuki Warriors when they became. For Alexa Bliss, she did it again. She had Nikki ASH or Nikki as her partner, and now they are both once again, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions of the World. An incredible moment, an incredible main event. This was about, I want to say, about 4 stars. That's my rating for it. 4 to 4.25. Amazing outcome. Nothing more to say. And Michael Bullock, is yours.
Unprecedented crowning, MF? All right, Bullock, go ahead.
Yeah, it was definitely an unprecedented crowning. So, 4 stars for me. The fight of the night, hands down. What a moment there for Asuka and Alexa Bliss. I mean, they just returned tonight, and here they are now, the new women's tag team champions, and ending the reign of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So, another title for Alexa Bliss, but then you can also say the same for Asuka. So they come right back, and right away they are the new champs. So congratulations to the two of them. So there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yes, sir. Fight of the night, without a doubt. 4 to 4.25 stars. The first half of the match featured the usual tag team formula we see in WWE all the time. Babyfaces in control at first, but then the heels began to dominate. All 4 women became much more aggressive as the match progressed, and that made it a lot more entertaining. Io Sky and Asuka, particularly, were fun to watch. Bayley and Bianca Belair fought at ringside as the match was getting close to the end, and they ended up crashing through 2 tables, thanks to Bayley's Bayley to Belly on that. Bliss and Asuka ended up scoring the win to become the new women's tag team champions. The only criticism I have is the match had some pacing issues toward the end, but overall, this was a fun outing from everyone involved. And Alexa Bliss and Dakota Kai have similar aesthetics in some ways. They might make a better tag team than either of the 2 teams in this bout. The crowd popped a little when Sky and Asuka had a stare down. This is a singles feud WWE needs to explore at some point. The Code Red Bliss hit from the corner looked great, and Sky is great at almost everything, but her punches don't always look good. But other than that, absolutely fantastic match. This was easily, like I said, 4 to 4.25 stars. And as MF said, history made, unprecedented crowning here tonight. So what else is there to say? So with that, let's get into our overall review. And I believe Michael Bullock starts it off. So Michael Bullock, your overall thoughts on this Halloween edition of Monday Night Raw tonight in Dallas.
I thought it was a good edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, not great, but I thought it was good enough for it to be a passable show. So I'll give it about 6.5 to 7 on this edition. I mean, the only downside are the Corbin, JBL, and R-Truth segment, and of course the Trick or Street fight. So those things really did take away from it, but everything else I thought was good. So 6.5 to 7. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, about 6.5 to 7. I think that's the appropriate rating for this. It was a mixed bag. I mean, we had a few quality matches tonight. Of course, the main event ended up being the fight of the night. The 4 to 4.25 stars for the women's tag team championship matchup. Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, second best fight of the night. Round out the top 3 probably with the opener with Bianca Belair and Nikki Cross. Some other good things here and there. Another solid segment with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman before The Miz got involved. And, of course, the same thing can be said for JBL and Corbin. That was until R-Truth showed up with his comedy nonsense. And Trick or Street fight, we're not even going to dignify that. Usual silliness. And I could have done without the silliness altogether, but, especially with the way the company's being run nowadays. But I kind of felt like they kind of let McMagma slip in the back door a little bit, but at least they kept. At least there wasn't too much silliness, thank goodness. But it was still a little much for me. So, but other than that, 6.5 to 7. That's the correct rating. MF, your overall thoughts, and then I'll get into my latest Tony's take on Impact and Level Up.
Yeah, 6.5 definitely was the rating. I don't think there's much of an argument here. So yeah, nothing more to add. And Anthony, it's yours.
All right, Tony's take. To, of course, NXT. We got Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. Just want to set something up real quick before I get further too far ahead of myself. All right, interesting. All right. So with that, we let's get into okay. So we're gonna get into Impact Wrestling to start it off, and then of course NXT Level Up, and I'll do some table setting for Impact Wrestling, of course, and for this upcoming week. And all right, just you know how this runs on me, of course. All right, here we go. Taped from Sam's Town Live in Las Vegas, Nevada, airing on Access TV, and as always, and we started it off with actually it was the second match of the X Division title tournament. They did one match on before the Impact pre-show. Black Taurus ended up winning that match over I believe it was the Laredo Kids. So Black Taurus is in the next round of this tournament, and then this matchup, Alan Angels, formerly Alan 5 Angels. You remember him from the Dark Order? He went up against Trey Miguel, and Alan Angels wins the match, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Moving on, or actually, no, I'm sorry, Trey Miguel won the match. Beg your pardon. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Impact has long since figured out that the idea of having an X Division match open the show is going to work every time. The fans get behind Miguel, who can fly around like few others and make you care about him with ease. Other than that, you have Angels, who is still known enough from AEW and fits in well as a first-round victim for a bigger star. Tasha Steelz versus Rochelle Steele. Rochelle Steelz wins by disqualification at 1:56 after outside interference from Savannah Evans. So that's an NA. Tommy Dreamer squaring off against Chris Bay. Tommy Dreamer wins the match, 10 minutes and 24 seconds. 3 stars. The ending was a huge relief, as I was worried they would have the ECW guys beat the Bullet Club again. Or actually, Chris Bay won the match. I apologize again. I'm reading the results wrong. Long day. I'm not big on Dreamer in the first place, and it would have been way too far to have he and Ray get wins over these guys in some combination over back-to-back wins. Not a great match, but it's all about the storytelling anyway. Matt Cardona versus Alex Shelley. Matt Cardona wins the match, 8 minutes and 43 seconds. Another 2.5, 2 3/4. There was a lot packed in here, but they made it work well enough anyway, with both guys keeping up with all the quick near falls. The former Major Brothers getting the title shot is not a bad idea, though it wouldn't surprise me to see this winding up as a triple threat match. Entertaining stuff here, as the Major players are a good team when they get the chance. Then from there, I got a little frozen here. All right. The dud fight of the night, Raj Singh versus Joe Henry. Joe Henry in 147. This was an absolute dud. This was the worst fight of the night. Not even going to waste any time on that. Main event of the evening, 6 knockout tag team match. Vexed, Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green, along with Giselle Shaw, squared off against the Knockouts champion Jordan Grace, Mickie James, and Taylor Wilde. And the babyface team wins the match 15 minutes and 17 seconds. Fight of the night, 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. They kept things moving here with a longer match than I would have thought. Mickie James is probably on her way to a huge showdown with Jordynne Grace, maybe at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view next January. And she might have to go through the rest of Vexed to get there. Great main event here, as Grace and James are turning into some of the bigger stars in the whole company. So 7 out of 10. The upcoming Impact Plus special Overdrive is not exactly looking great so far, but they're doing some good stuff on the way there. That's the kind of thing that you do not get to see very often, but they're managing to pull it off. There were some good enough matches on this one, though the Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer stuff is still dragging a lot of the rest down. This Thursday night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV at 8 p.m. Also at 8:30 over on the Impact Insiders on YouTube, and then uploaded immediately to Impact Plus at 10 p.m. Josh Alexander, the World Heavyweight Champion, teaming up with his challenger at Overdrive, Frankie Kazarian. They're going to be squaring off against the Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. Next match in the X Division title tournament, Kenny King squaring off against Speedball Mike Bailey, and Eric Young will go one-on-one with Sami Callihan. So that'll all go down this Thursday night over on Access TV, 8 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 for the Insiders on YouTube, and of course 10 p.m. immediately uploaded to Impact Plus after the show's over. So that's a nice little perk of having an Impact Plus, which I do. So one last order of business tonight, and that is NXT Level Up, as always, and we'll get into that real quick, and then we'll call it here and set up some very exciting content coming your way this week over our family of shows and MF. I'll have you break down the times for the shows when we get to it. So, but first, let's get into this past Friday night's edition of NXT Level Up, and we started it off with Channing Stacks Lorenzo squaring off against Tank Ledger. Stacks wins the match, 5 minutes and 42 seconds. It was all right. I appreciate the finger work playing into the finish. The finisher, though, was kind of weak, and perhaps he needs to find a new one. 1.5 stars. Thea Hale squaring off against Jakara Jackson. And Thea Hale wins the match, 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Jackson showed some aggression, but that was about all. Most of the match was Hale fighting out of arm control. I'm going to be generous and give this 0.5 star. I could easily call it a dub, but I'm going to give it 0.5 star for the effort. And then the main event, Trick Williams squaring off against Brooks Jensen. And Brooks Jensen wins the match in 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Fun little sprint. I enjoyed it. Credit to both men for a fun little sprint with some hard-hitting moves. 2.5 stars. 5.5 out of 10. Main event was fun, and the rest was what we expect from this show, which is all right. So that's it. That will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. MF, before I get into the future content, set me up with the times for the shows this week, if you would.
Well, on Wednesday night, it's going to be after Dynamite, so 10 p.m. Eastern. And then everything else is Thursday, 10:30, Friday at 11, and then Saturday, 10:30.
All right, very good. So, all right, so let's break it down. Wednesday night, we'll be next with you over on MF's channel, BraceFan95, for another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, immediately following Dynamite at 10 p.m. NXT, AEW Dynamite, and a preview of Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the Houston Texans. That's going to put some eyes on the screen. So that's all there is to say there. Thursday, Week 10 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. And we've got 3 huge main events, including, for the first time in almost 3 years, a game of the century. 1 versus 2. Georgia, Tennessee. Even though the game's in Georgia, it's number 2 Tennessee versus number 1 Georgia. That'll be on Saturday. And of course, also on top of that, we got Alabama versus LSU. and Clemson versus Notre Dame. So 3 huge main events on Saturday. And then from there, Friday night, we got Friday Night SmackDown with MF. Friday Night SmackDown, taped show, by the way. AEW Rampage, and then, of course, our preview of WWE Crown Jewel. And then Saturday, 10:30, we have the Week 9 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday. Headline game, the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know we're going to be figuring in a recap show for Crown Jewel. We'll put our heads together and figure out when we're going to do that. So, but for right now, that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness over on the MF channel, Race 395, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever, the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.